Today we are speaking to co-founders of Preezie, Kwok Nguyen and Michael Tutek Kwok. And Michael, welcome and thank you for sparing the time.
Yeah, thanks, Beverly. We feel honoured and privileged to be chatting with you.
Thanks for having us.
So let me start and go back to your early careers. First, I wonder if you can tell me a bit about your background, yourselves and your early career.
My background, Beverly, is I've been, I started out working in corporate finance, M&A, and whatnot, and I forged a career in investment banking and whatnot, and effectively, it got to a point where, I always had an entrepreneurial flair, a burn inside my stomach to see how other businesses are growing and helping other businesses growing and sort of just transacting from an M&A sort of landscape to a point where, I thought, look, I'd love to do this for myself. I'd love to be able to grow a business from the ground up. And do it in a space that I've always had a passion for, which is technology and where things are going. So, I utilize a lot of my experience, my corporate finance, M&A, business sort of experience. And, I stumbled across Michael through another business venture that I have. And thankfully that I did because, when I chatted with him, he was telling me about the idea, the inception of Preezie and how, it was going to revolutionize e-commerce and whatnot. And, as part of that, we sort of just got together and, the rest is history now. And, I've joined, I came in the business at the inception, helped Michael co-found the business. And, I sort of add let's just call it the business acumen, the sort of corporate structure and all of that sort of dynamic to our business. So that's my background in a brief.
I'll give you the quick the inception story. So when I was 13, 12, grew up old school European, Croatian to be specific. My dad was a bricklayer and he used to throw water on me to wake me up in the morning. So when I was 14 years, 9 months old, legally allowed to work, I just said to my uncle, like, please, for goodness sake, like, give me a job. I can't deal with my old man anymore. So he goes, yeah, cool. Gave me a job. And really quickly, I moved into sales because I initially started on warehouse, sweeping the floor, moved into sales. And it was really interesting that the sales journey.
Sorry, this is at the Good Guys.
This is at the Good Guys. Yeah, when I was at the Good Guys. And the sales journey was always very, very similar. Someone walked in, got greeted, got guided, and purchased products. And I remember thinking back then, the online conversions, 1 in 100, where in store it was more like 40 out of 100. I've always had a love for psychology. I've always had a love for sales. Always had a love for tech. So I even thought back then, I was like 16 years old, like, why doesn't anyone do this online? Like, why doesn't anyone have this guided selling approach online? Or more in specific, like, why doesn't anyone bring the in-store experience online? With that kind of idea, I moved on. I ended up studying engineering and finance at Swinburne, did that for a while, became an engineer, and then became a sales guy, a business development guy. And then really I thought, you know what, I want to build that idea that I had at the Good Guys. I want to bring that in-store experience online. And that's when I met Kwok and initially started Preezie as like a B2C for appliances, almost like an iSelect for appliances. Mm-hmm. But then really, really quickly pivoted into what we are now, which is like a B2B software as a service.
Oh, obviously, this is your initial idea then has been, germinating in your mind for quite some time. Can you just explain to us what is Preezie now? How does it work? And how does it help both the retailer and the customer?
What we are now, we call ourselves a guided experience platform. So we are a Melbourne-based tech startup. It is a software as a service. And what we do is we partner with retailers, both pure play and omni-channel, to help them bring the in-store experience online. So if you think about it, you go to a physical store, let's call it just Shaver Shop, for example, who are have a reputation for an amazing in-store experience. And you look at a wall of 200 shavers or razors and you go like, where do I start? Like, I have sensitive skin. I'm going to use it X times a week. I want to do my more defined grooming. a sales assistant can greet you and help you go, okay, you want to do this, you want to do that. What about this? Do you have a budget in mind? Do you have a brand in mind? Okay, you know what? Like Quack Mike, I believe you should look at this.
Yeah.
What Preezie does is it gets that functionality and builds it online, and we call them Preezie journeys. So we learn your in-store journey or the equivalent in-store journey, and then we bring that journey online through a platform.
So does it work for all products?
The tech is completely platform or technology agnostic, and conceptually the idea is, vertical agnostic. You might need help in shoes, in shavers, in clothing, in cars. Some of our retailers, for example, we work with like Baby Bunting, we work with Lorna Jane in activewear, we work with Bevel's Jewelry in jewelry, we work with Nick's Wines in wines. The reality is, if there is an element of guided selling, or if there is an element of consultation, like you need some thought and some consideration to make an informed decision, then Preezie, or the Preezie platform and idea is applicable.
It's really around the consideration set, Beverly, in the sense that if you had products where all the consideration was color, let's just say a red pen, a blue pen, or a green pen, it's just color. I think where you've got multiple consideration sets, and it might be brand, it might be price, it might be application. These shoes are great for hiking or running or netball. Then all those consideration sets, there's always, a lot of the retailers we work with, they've got large product range and SKU ranges, right? And we always say to our partners, it's fantastic to have a great, massive range, but work on helping your consumers to navigate through that. And there's always not everything is the right fit and application for you, but these handful are, and these are the ones that are best matching for you. That's what we do through our platform, in a nutshell. So
essentially, you're helping with choice paralysis, because one of the issues with online, where you've got, I'm looking for a dress to go to a wedding, is I've got this wide range of dresses to choose from, and I want to narrow it down. That you're actually saying, okay, these are the things that your consideration. So you're then giving me a curated choice to help my decision making. Am I picking that up right? You're sort of making my decision easier to make because you're giving me exactly what I want, in the way that, if we go back to when you were talking about the Good Guys, one of the things I go shopping into the Good Guys for is because I'm going to shop for products I don't understand and I don't know, and I know if I go in there, they will be able to help me make my decision. So essentially, you're really helping people make a decision that's right for them.
Yeah, it is. That's right, Beverly. And we're curating that journey. And there's a level of our platform to not only understand what the consumer's looking for in a product, but there's also a level of giving them confidence that the product that's recommended, that best matches. So there's a level of personalization in e-commerce that's happening. And we as a business are certainly moving in that right direction, and working with our retail partners where they're seeing a lot of value around our platform to be able to not only help their consumers shop and navigate through the range, and yes, instead of being shown 50 dresses to choose from, being shown 5 or 6 dresses that matches their needs, but also explaining why and giving them confidence that, hey, we've got the right dress. You don't need to go on another website. You can just be comfortable. This is the right one. Add to cart. Happy days.
In terms of with the customers you've got, what sort of difference in conversion is it making to your clients?
What we've seen on average is when consumers, and we call them Preezie shoppers, engage and use Preezie, they typically convert at 3 to 4 times more than non-Preezie shoppers. Wow. So we've got quite a lot of examples where let's call it your average conversion rate in Google Analytics is 1 or 2, where people that use Preezie and buy can be 3, 4, 5%, and 300 to 400% higher than your normal. So from there, it's really just a matter of, getting as many people to use it as possible. So, we've done a lot of work on that, because ultimately, getting more people to use something that converts higher has a huge material impact on your business.
And do you have any evidence that people who've used Preezie with one company if they find that they can use Preezie on another site, are more likely to do that?
So it's a great question, and I laugh because it's a project I'm working on now. We are really looking into that because there's an element where about 500,000 people in Australia use us every month. So there's a good chunk of people that are aware of the function, know what it does, had a great experience. A good part of them, may or may not know it's us, but the reality is, as you start to build that trust with the consumers, the Preezie shoppers, if they see you and others, they're willing to use you, trust you, understand you. So it is a project we're doing now. So hold tight, and hopefully we'll have something ready in a few months.
Okay. And do you find that from a demographic point of view, is it more men or women who use you, or is it more is it younger age group to older age group? How does that work?
So what we've seen in terms of men versus women, it seems like it's pretty much down the middle. It's a split. We've got a few sites that their traffic is give or take 50-50 or 60-40. But what we have noticed is we tend to, I suppose, provide more value on audiences that are kind of 20, 25 plus. Now, I think that's generally, a 17, 18-year-old, generally speaking, is more happy to, say, browse 200 pairs of shoes, and they're just looking at what looks the best. But let's call it a little bit older, working, children, time poor. You kind of want to get in, get out a bit quicker.
Yeah.
And you start to value, customer experience a lot more. Like, it's not often an 18-year-old will go off because they haven't been serviced in Maya, but my mum actually called Maya, the store, when she was in the store to tell them off for not servicing her. So, there's a difference in audience, but we've seen, I guess, it works for all.
For me, it's fascinating. And as we spoke, I'm not from a tech background. What's next for tech in your experience? Where can tech take us?
In terms of tech and retail, I think we are still like at the infancies. We're nowhere near where we could be. And I think if you look at some other areas like, say, finance, fintech, I think fintech, in terms of 0 is no tech, and 10 is completely forward thinking. I think fintech is up there. Well, I think retail, like, I reckon we're at the 1s and 2s. I think there's going to be an element where that whole bringing the in-store experience online, bridging the gap through, tools like us, but more, is going to be a huge thing. In other words, you could call it personalization. There's nothing that knows enough about Beverly and knows enough about the products and knows enough about the journey and the psychology to bridge all that. So that's where I think it's going. And that's where we're putting in all our efforts.